Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. It keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. Now let's get into some music news. Now, I hate to start the show off with bad news, but this is the state of the world we live in right now. Veteran country artist Joe Diffie, my apologies, I believe it is Diffie, has died following complications from COVID-19. The Grammy Award and CMA Award winner passed away Sunday, March 29th, according to his publicist. He was 61. He went public with his diagnosis on Friday, March 27th. Man, that was a quick turnaround. Now, he was a country and neo-traditionalist whose Everyman appeal led him to 17 top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot Country Songs charts in the 90s. He recently celebrated his 25th anniversary as a member of the Grand Ole Opry, is best known for such number ones as Home, If the Devil Danced, In My Empty Pockets, Third Rock from the Sun, Pickup Man, and Bigger Than the Beatles. In addition to his success as a performer, the Tulsa native was also a successful songwriter, penning hits for artists like Tim McGraw, Conway Twitty, and Joe DiMessina. He continued to maintain a steady touring slate and had 2020 dates through the rest of the year. Now, Alan Merrill, co-writer and singer of the original version of I Love Rock and Roll, and creator of the band The Arrows, has died at age 69 from COVID-19, according to his daughter, who shared the news on social media. The coronavirus took my father this morning. I was given 2 minutes to say goodbye before I was rushed out. He seemed peaceful, and as I left, was still a glimmer of hope that he wouldn't be a ticker on the right-hand side of the CNN Fox News screen. I walked 50 blocks home still with hope in my heart. The city that I knew was empty. I felt I was the only person here, and perhaps in many ways I was. By the time I got in the doors to my apartment, I received the news that he was gone. How could this be? I was just at his show a couple of weeks ago. I had just photographed his portrait for his new album. Texted him earlier. He played down the cold he thought he had. People are dying. You don't think it will happen to you or your strong family. It has. Stay home, if not for you, for others. For my dad. This thing is real. He probably won't be able to mourn him properly, or we probably won't be able to mourn him properly with a funeral. I just lost the greatest love of my life and won't be able to hug anyone because I've been exposed and need to self-quarantine for 2 weeks alone. Oh my gosh, that is like the hardest statement I've read so far. Most of them are usually from someone in management, part of the team. And so it's like just facts. But this was heartbreaking. And the fact that she can't even hug anyone because now she has to self-quarantine. Oh my gosh, this is... Rest in peace to both legends. Now, American legend John Prine, who is the recipient of the 2020 Recording Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award, has been hospitalized since Thursday after experiencing sudden onset of COVID-19 symptoms. A cancer survivor himself, the singer's family revealed the news Sunday afternoon, March 29th, with a post on social media explaining his situation is critical. After a sudden onset of COVID-19 symptoms, John was hospitalized on Thursday. He was intubated Saturday evening and continues to receive care, but his situation is critical. This is hard news for us to share. but so many of you have loved and supported John over the years. We wanted to let you know and give you the chance to send on more of that love and support now. And know that we love you and John loves you. This is, like I said, I hate to start the show off like this, but this is our reality. So John Prine isn't the only musician in the news for COVID-19. Here's a list of all the others. Scarface revealed his diagnosis March 26 during a live stream with his Ghetto Boys bandmate Willie D. The rapper explained that he had been sick for weeks in and out of treatment, but officially got his results March 25th. What started out as an itch in the throat led to Scarface heading to the emergency room where he was given an IV and antibiotics. After he was discharged, he returned to the ER even sicker and noted that it started off with pneumonia in both of my lungs, and 3 or 4 days later, my kidneys failed. I've been to the point where I felt I was going to die. Slim Thug on March 24th, Slim Thug announced via Instagram that he had tested positive for the virus. Check this out. No games being played. The other day I got tested for the coronavirus and it came back positive. As careful as I have been self-quarantined and staying home, I might have went out and got something to eat, stayed in my truck, mask, gloves, everything on. My test came back positive. The Like a Boss MC warned fans to take the virus seriously and cautioned them to stay indoors despite wanting to interact outside. Jackson Brown revealed March 24th that he has tested positive for the coronavirus. In an interview with Rolling Stone, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer said he immediately sought out testing when he developed a cough and started running a fever. He did test positive, but he downplayed the severity of his illness. My symptoms are really pretty mild, so I don't require any kind of medication and certainly not hospitalization or anything like that. The 71-year-old rocker is pretty certain he picked up the virus on his recent trip to New York for the Love Rocks NYC benefit, which moved forward on March 12th as planned, but for the first time live streamed and with no audience because of early coronavirus cautions. Now I wish I hadn't gone to New York and done this benefit. Charlotte Lawrence, the singer-songwriter, told fans March 18th that she had been diagnosed with the coronavirus. I'm going to be completely fine, she assured her followers in an Instagram post before urging them to help reduce the numbers of people infected by self-isolating. Stay inside, please. Whether you feel sick or not, stay inside. Think about someone else getting your loved ones sick because they don't listen, because they thought they knew better, because they were selfish. We have the power to slow this down. Andrew Watt, the music producer who worked on Cardi B's Grammy-winning album Invasion of Privacy and each of Post Malone's 3 albums, shared in a March 17th Instagram post that he was originally diagnosed with the flu when he started feeling sick on March 6th and was told by a doctor that he absolutely didn't have the coronavirus. Watt explained that he went to the ER and begged to be tested and was denied, and it wasn't until he got a private doctor that he found out he had the virus. To have the mentality, I'm young and this can't affect me, is just straight up stupid and so dangerous to everyone around you, wrote the 29-year-old. It's not about you, it's about everyone together fighting this as a team. DJ Webster, best known for his 2009 hit Chicken Noodle Soup, has tested positive for the coronavirus. The producer announced the news March 24th via Instagram. I started getting a lot of symptoms on about 9 to 10 days ago, so I isolated myself immediately. Fever, headache, sore throat, shortness of breath, body aches, no appetite. So I thought it was the flu. Or originally, the flu test came back negative. That was a weird read. The COVID-19 test I got back about an hour ago, and I tested positive for it. David Bryan of Bon Jovi, he's a keyboardist who was also a Tony Award-winning composer for Memphis, said in an Instagram update on March 21st that he's feeling better each day after testing positive and remaining quarantined for a week with another week to follow. He urged followers to not be afraid of the virus, but remind them to please help out each other. This will be over soon with the help of every American. Placido Domingo, the opera singer, announced on social media on March 22nd that he had tested positive and is isolating in self-quarantine. I experienced fever and cough symptoms, therefore deciding to get tested, and the results came back positive. I beg everyone to be extremely careful. Follow the basic guidelines by washing your hands frequently, keeping at least 6 feet distance from others, doing everything you can to stop the virus from spreading, and please, above all, stay home if you can. Sandy Patty, the gospel singer, shared on March 17th that she and her husband Don had both tested positive and are under quarantine for 2 weeks. This is not fake news. She insisted on Instagram, if you are not already practicing social distancing and staying home, do so now. This is what we can all do. This is how we stop the spread. Ocean Grove, an unidentified member of the Aussie Metalcore act, has contracted COVID-19. The Melbourne band just completed a round of meet and greets in support of their new album, Flip Phone Fantasy, the follow-up to 2017's The Rhapsody tapes, which peaked at number 5 on the IRIA album charts. Reps for Ocean Grove's label Unified says, please keep the Ocean Grove guys and others affected in your hearts and minds during this time. Thelma Plum, multiple IRIA award-nominated Australian singer Thelma Plum was hospitalized after contracting the novel coronavirus. In a social post, she wrote, doing really good, feeling good, but warned off the virus' potential harm, particularly to Australia's Indigenous communities. Looking after your mental health during the coronavirus outbreak is key. Idris Elba, the Golden Globe winning actor who is also a musician, he opened for Madonna's Rebel Heart tour in Berlin, told fans in a video on March 16th that he has COVID-19. After learning that he was in contact with someone who had tested positive, I quarantined myself and got tested immediately, emphasizing that he showed no symptoms. Look, this is serious, Now's the time to really think about social distancing, washing your hands. Brandon Hoover, the Empire guitarist, revealed that he thought he had picked up a case of the flu through his travels, and it wasn't until he went to the ER that he found out it was actually the virus. I advised everyone to keep yourselves informed, stay isolated, drink lots of water, and wash your hands. Rita Wilson, I didn't realize that she was a recording artist, but her husband is Tom Hanks. That she shared to the world on March 11th that the couple had been diagnosed with the virus while in Australia. Per the actor, Wilson had some chills and slight fevers while in isolation. She reached out to fans on Twitter for suggestions for a quarantine playlist. Hours later, she revealed the 28-song Quarantunes. She also has a really funny video of her singing OPP. Naughty by Nature's OPP, like word for word, while she was like reading a book. It's pretty hilarious, mainly because it's Rita Wilson and OPP. Like what? I don't even know all the words. I don't know all the words to anything though. So DJ Black and Mild, New Orleans bounce DJ and radio personality, died on March 19th after testing positive for the coronavirus. The Orleans Parish Coroner's Office confirmed March 20th that the DJ, born Oliver Stokes Jr., died after contracting COVID-19. He was 44. Stokes reportedly left work with a fever on March 9th and documented the early stages of his sickness on social media, writing his last post, pneumonia, not the flu, on March 11th. Jeez. Wasn't pneumonia. Well, it sounds like based off of what Scarface said, like you get pneumonia as a result of this virus. That's sad. Rest in peace. Aaron Tveit, Broadway star, he's 36, revealed on Monday, March 23rd via Instagram that he has tested positive for the virus and has been in quarantine since Broadway shows shut down March 12th. Testament singer Chucky Billy, lead singer Chuck Billy, and several members of the long-running hard rock band's crew have tested positive for COVID-19. The band announced the news on March 22nd. Man, they began feeling unwell after returning from their Bay Strikes Back European tour earlier this month. Radiohead guitarist Ed O'Brien on March 23rd posted on Instagram that he has been home for days with flu-like symptoms and that he most probably has the virus, though he hasn't been tested yet because he thinks the scarce test should be reserved for the vulnerable in our community. All right, that was a hard segment, y'all. So we're going to take a break and return with new music news.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture. Searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. All right, that last segment was hard. This one's a little bit lighter because now we got some new releases. And let's just give much props and respect to all the creatives because creative content is what is keeping the majority of us sane. Whether it's reading books, listening to podcasts, listening to music, watching scripted series, watching movies, documentaries. It's all creatives that put that content together. And so, thank you. Thank you, fellow creators. So on a new album releases, we have The Weeknd has a deluxe version of After Hours with new remixes. Dua Lipa, I need to learn how to say her name. She's dope though. Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia. Jessie Reyes, Before Love Came to Kill Us. Joyner Lucas, ADHD. Party Next Door, Party Mobile. Pearl Jam, Gigaton. 5 Seconds of Summer, Calm. Hot new singles, Party Next Door, Believe It. NAV and Gunna, Turks featuring Travis Scott. Dua Lipa, Break My Heart. Ingrid Andress. The Stranger, Jessie Reyes. Coffin featuring Eminem. Pearl Jam. Retrograde, 5 Seconds of Summer, Wildflower, Tory Lanez, Do the Most. Now on to tour and festival news. Here is what has been newly canceled. The annual music business conference, MIDM, is moving its 2020 edition, which was set for June 2nd through the 5th in Cannes, online instead. The MIDM digital edition will live stream globally during those dates, allowing virtual audiences to discuss, collaborate, and share solutions with a focus on the most impacted music stakeholders. The next in-person edition of MIDM is set for June 1st through the 4th, 2021 in Cannes, marking the event's 55th anniversary. Similarly, the American Association of Independent Music, A2IM, is moving its Indie Week event for the independent music industry, which accumulates in the Libria Awards online. The virtual edition will take place during the same dates originally planned, June 15th through the 18th. Usually the 4-day event is held in New York City. Purity Ring has posted their May through June tour to the fall, has postponed it. The May through June tour will now be in the fall. Primavera Sound, which typically kicks off the summer at Barcelona's Parc de Forum, will be shifting to the end of the season. The festival will now take place August 26th through the 30th at the same location, and they are hoping to maintain as much of their original lineup, which features Lana Del Rey, Bad Bunny, Tyler, the Creator, and more as headliners. After initially stating March 13th that it planned to move forward with its scheduled July 1st through 5th dates in New Orleans, Essence Festival 2020 announced late Friday that it will move closer to the fall. Ringo Starr's all-star band rescheduled its spring 2020 tour to spring-summer 2021. BTS is rescheduling the upcoming North America dates. The Map of the Soul tour was scheduled to kick off April 25th and 26th in Santa Clara, California. Britain's Download Festival 2020 is canceled. Mountain Jam, which was set to take place May 29th through the 31st in Bethel, New York, has been canceled. Tickets will automatically be refunded at point of purchase, which doesn't make any sense. If you already purchased, then how is there a point of purchase? That already passed. But if y'all got tickets, look into that. The 2020 Isle of Wight Festival is scrapped. The APRA Music Awards will go with a virtual format this year, originally slated to take place April 28th. It instead will be streamed on May 26th. Governor's Ball 2020 is canceled. Bon Iver has rescheduled their spring European tour to January 2021. Harry Styles' Love on Love tour of the UK and Europe is pushed back to February 2021. Finland's Apocalyptica has rescheduled all the US and Canada dates on their 2020 Cell O World Tour. They're rescheduling the dates, so head to their site for more information. Camila Cabello has postponed her romance tour, though she has yet to work out rescheduled dates. International Jazz Day 2020 is canceled. Garth Brooks has rescheduled his upcoming stadium concerts. The Bank of America Stadium show in Charlotte, North Carolina, scheduled for May 2nd, will now be June 13th. The Paul Brown Stadium show in Cincinnati, Ohio, scheduled for May 16th, will now be June 27th. Josh Groban's Great Big Radio City show, scheduled to take place at Radio City Music Hall on Saturday, April 18th, has been postponed to Monday, October 5th. Firefly Festival has been canceled. Milwaukee Summerfest 2020 has announced they are moving to new dates September 3rd through the 5th, 10th through the 12th, and 17th through the 19th of 2020. Australian indie rock trio DMAs have pushed back their release of their new album, The Glow, citing everything that's going on in the world. It was set to release April 24th, but now will drop July 10th. The Great Escape UK 2020 festival is canceled. It was set to feature more than 400 performers. Metallica is rescheduling their April tour dates and will no longer appear at the Danny Wimmer Presents Spring Festival. Tanya Tucker and CMT announced rescheduled tour dates for the spring leg of the 2020 CMT Next Women of Country Bring My Flowers Now tour till later in the year. The annual Dance Music Industry Conference, IMS Ibiza, has been postponed. Those dates have yet to be announced. Disco Donnie Presents announced that the Ooby Dooby Festival, scheduled for April 18th and 19th, has been postponed until Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st at the Houston Raceway Park with an all-new lineup. Zac Brown Band announced that they are canceling this spring's Owl Tour, which had previously been postponed. Additionally, the band has now canceled all remaining 2020 dates, including this summer's Roar with the Lions Tour, which was slated to begin May 24th. The 29th Annual Detroit Music Awards are moving from a live presentation April 19th at the Fillmore Detroit to an online streaming ceremony at 8 p.m. that day with award presentations and video performances. All right. So yes, again, that part of segment 2 was a little womp womp with all the cancellations, but the upside is a lot of artists are live streaming. Here's what I have coming up. April 5th, ACM presents Our Country on CBS, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Will feature at-home performances from country superstars on April 5th. April 2nd, Diplo will DJ across Instagram Live, Twitch, and YouTube starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So what have I been jamming? A lot. A lot. Friday did give me 2 albums from 2 artists that I highly respect and have had the privilege of interviewing on my Testimony, a Musician Story podcast. The first is Taylor Gray, Touch Not Mine Anointed. It was solely produced by one person, which is how albums used to get made, but it's no longer the trend. But Swoop produced it, and Swoop is also an incredible rapper who I've interviewed as well. This is a great collab filled with rapidy raps. So if you're about that backpack rap, that rapidy rap, Taylor Gray is your dude for that. John Gibbs, the Collection Tape Volume 1, is dope as AF. None of his albums sound the same. John raps and sings, and the production is so unique and filled with interludes, which is totally nostalgic for me. I'm loving that a lot of artists in the rap game are including interludes, because that's how it used to be. My standouts are The Payment, Like Me, and Crossfade. Fans have been waiting for this. I mean, he released new music about a year ago that was available on all platforms, and then it was quickly taken down. And he had been promising music for a while after that, that I believe never dropped. So this is something totally different, a project that he wasn't planning on dropping, I believe. I'm just happy that he was able to put it out. I hope they don't take it off again. And I'm stoked that it is dope AF. I also been listening to some other things. Let me just pull up my little music list. Jessie Reyes, Before Love Came to Kill Us. The title is so cray, but I love Jessie, just her spirit, her energy. My favorite songs are standouts, I would say, because I only had time to really listen to things like once and then just listen to the songs that really stood out. So Coffin featuring Eminem, Ankles is a good joint. Imported is an old jam, so it sounds like a lot of songs that she previously released she put on here as well. Dope is dope. It's hella upbeat. I just put that on like my get hyped sound list or playlist. It's a ballad. It's so beautiful. At the end, it has like the gospel organ. And I don't know if this is Jessie's vocals. Like, I have to look it up because it sounds a little Marsha Ambrosia's, Ambrosia-ish is what I want to say. Marsha Ambrosia. It sounds like her voice. It's very like, hits that high falsetto. Marsha is from Floetry, so she can do that high. And it's super airy. If that's Jessie, man, props to her, cause, I haven't heard her voice do that. So that album I'm feeling, Party Next Door, I'm still listening to. Honestly, I like Party as far as like when he's featured on stuff or like singles, but I can never listen to, like, really get into an entire project of his. Dua Lipa, I'm still getting through hers, but I'm feeling it so far. Like, I really can't wait to run to it. It's like super hyped, just up tempo, like dope to work out to. I wasn't really feeling the title track though, Future Nostalgia. It was just like, whatever. Don't Start Now, which is a second track. That's what I was really feeling. And Levitating, I was digging as well. That's what I've been listening to so far. So on that note, let's take a break and return with music history with Scarface.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. Now let's get into music history with Scarface, according to allmusic.com. Scarface quickly became the South's most admired rapper and remained so throughout the 90s after breaking away from the Ghetto Boys to launch his solo career in 1991. Even if he never scored any national hits or stormed up the charts with any of his numerous albums throughout the 90s, no one could question his clout throughout the South. That's for sure. He essentially defined what it meant to be a Southern thug rapper years before anyone even coined the term Dirty South. This became glaringly evident in the late 90s when a massive wave of young MCs arose from Houston, New Orleans, and Memphis, emulating his style of hard-boiled, ghetto-bred, straight-up hardcore rapping. Besides serving as the father of Southern thug rap, it seemed as if every hardcore rapper wanted to align himself with Scarface during the 90s. Everyone from Ice Cube, Dr. Dre to Tupac and Master P collaborated with the former Ghetto Boy. That Tupac track is one of my faves as well. All in an attempt to foster credibility among the loyal Southern rap audience. Yet despite his unquestionable influence, Scarface never crossed over to mainstream success. I would have never known that because he was mainstream in my book. His albums were often plagued with filler. His lyrics were simply too harsh for radio, and his devotion to producer Mike Dean led to a stagnant, albeit trademark sound. Still, likely because Scarface never crossed over and remained aligned to the streets, his influence never waned, making him one of the few veterans able to sustain in the here today, gone tomorrow rap game. In the early 2000s, Def Jam Records rewarded his staying power with a lucrative contract, a wealth of industry connections, and a powerful marketing push. Scarface consequently enjoyed the most successful album of his career, The Fix, 2002, and a revival of entrance in his back catalog, which his former label Rap-A-Lot repackaged that same year on Greatest Hits. Brad Jordan, born November 9th, 1970, became known as Scarface. He called himself Action, A-K-S-H-E-N. As such, he began his rap career first as a solo artist in his native Houston during the mid-'80s for James Smith's then-fledgling Rap-A-Lot Records. It was Rap-A-Lot label. Smith was trying to launch a group he tagged the Ghetto Boys, and he eventually asked Action to join the group in late 80s. The Ghetto Boys' second album and first to feature Scarface, Grip It on the Other Level in 1990, later repackaged and re-released that same year simply as the Ghetto Boys. Shocked many with its vivid depictions of violence and its overall extreme nature. My mind's playing tricks now, man. This album featured the song Scarface, which introduced Action's alter ego, a title he would keep from that point onward. The ensuing controversy surrounding the group's debut put the Ghetto Boys on the map and set the stage for the impressive We Can't Be Stopped 1991. In the wake of the group's national success came solo albums, one of which being Scarface's debut, Mr. Scarface is Back, 1991. The album made it evident who the group's most talented member was, and the acclaimed showered on Scarface. resulted in bitter tensions among his fellow ghetto boys, Bushwick Bill and Willie D. By the time Scarface returned with his follow-up album, The World Is Yours, in 1993, his reputation overshadowed that of his groups. Willie D consequently departed, and the Ghetto Boys never again, I guess, came together. We Can't Be Stopped, releasing half-hearted, albeit popular efforts with the new lineup before later reuniting in the late 90s. In the meantime, Scarface continued to funnel his efforts into additional solo efforts, The Diary in 1994 and Untouchable in 1997. He then released the double disc My Homies 1998, a bloated effort laden with guests, many of the South's leading rappers. It wasn't until 2000, though, that Scarface won substantial admiration from the greater rap community with Last of a Dying Breed 2000, his most personal and focused album in years. As a result, he was awarded Lyricist of the Year at the 2001 Source Awards and was offered a promising deal with Def Jam Records. The powerhouse East Coast label wanted Scarface to helm its Def Jam South subsidiary division, and the rapper obliged, first signing Ludacris, who became an overnight superstar, and then releasing his own album, The Fix 2002. So Scarface signed Ludacris? I didn't know that. Okay. Led by a Kanye West produced collaboration with Jay-Z, Guess Who's Back, it spawned a popular single, My Block, and attracted widespread embrace. Rap-A-Lot furthered Scarface's newfound coast-to-coast acceptance with the rapper's first Best of Collection Greatest Hits 2002. In turn, he reunited with Willie D and Bushwick Bill and put together The Foundation 2005, another Ghetto Boys album. Okay, I don't know if I remember that. In 2006, he introduced his new crew, The Product, with the album 100 and released a second volume, My Homies. Okay, I don't remember The Product. Okay. Also landing in 2006 was Two-Face, a collection of tracks featuring Scarface and the late Tupac. What? Did I know that and I forgot? I'm getting old. I can't remember all this stuff. But I'm going to have to look that up. Two-Face. I'm sure I knew that. Made proved that Scarface was still relevant in 2007. It debuted at number 2 on the R&B hip-hop chart. In 2008, he retired his solo career with a goodbye album, Emeritus, Emeritus. He came out of retirement in 2015 for Deeply Rooted, an album that debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200 albums chart and featured guest appearances from Rick Ross, Zero, John Legend, and CeeLo Green. Now, if you can't tell already, I am a huge Scarface fan. I went to school in Houston, but I was a fan before that. But living there made me more diehard. I've seen him perform twice in Sacramento. He was literally just here with a live band in January, just a couple months ago. And it was an amazing show. To me, all live concerts, if you have a live band, that's it. And it's rare for rappers to travel with a live band. They might have a DJ and like a drummer, or they might have a DJ and like a guitarist, or a DJ, drummer, and guitarist, but never just a full out band. And he had a full out band, and he was also playing guitar too. He's not like super skilled, but he pulled it out a few times. It was a dope show. It was packed. Like every show I've been to, it's packed. So yeah, like him not being mainstream has not affected his career at all, because I didn't realize he wasn't mainstream. But his fans are diehard and they show up for him. So this COVID-19 diagnosis, it hits close to home for me. Face Mob, prayers for you, legend. I definitely appreciate your time. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.